All right. So we spent our day yesterday with Julia and Jacob and Felix. Just so nice. My husband did some work over there, which is, hi. He loves to help out, and obviously he knows how to do everything, so that's really helpful. And Felix is just the absolute sweetest. He has such a nice disposition. We love going to visit them. I like it because their house is very calm. I'm gonna wash my hand because I was just touching the chicken before we get on to the next part. And I had gone there also because I was meeting up with my best friend from elementary school. So we were friends through maybe I think 7th grade, and then we diverged paths a little bit. She was in a little bit of a more mature group than I was. So we just put it between 2 sheets of plastic wrap. And if you have a meat mallet, you can do that. If you have, we're going to do this better. There we go. You can use that. Otherwise, a rolling pin is fine. You can, or any heavy object. Anyway, so this is my 50 years. I went to Catholic school, so Catholic school was 1st grade through 8th grade. And it's been 50 years since we graduated. And it's a big deal when you're in the same school for a long time like that. We didn't switch to a middle school or anything like that. The town where I was living before we moved here, you went to, they had school K1, then I guess it's K to 2, then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then high school. So, but you really feel quite, these are fairly thin. It's not going to, you don't want it too thin either because then it burns in 2 seconds. So you feel like a big attachment. So I really did like that school. It's funny, I think about it sometimes. I went to, they didn't have a kindergarten, so I went to kindergarten in public school, but when I was a kid, you didn't have to go to kindergarten. It wasn't required, so you could just start in 1st grade. I remember my neighbor, who's a bit older than I am, saying that her husband went to kindergarten and walked home. He decided he didn't want to be there, and he left and walked home, and his parents were like, well, that's all. So he didn't go back anymore. But yeah, we didn't have to go. There was no pre-K. You only went if you needed someone to, more like a daycare. There was definitely no pre-K. And I know my Clara goes to pre-K. Frankie, who's turned 3 in December, he goes to a little pre-K class as well. I guess nursery school. Clara is more like the pre-K. And there was a place that I guess was a daycare between us and the next town that we used to walk to sometimes. And they had a little pool outside, and I was so, yeah, it's funny, right? I think we all turned out okay. And they had a pool, and you could see all their outside toys, and I was fascinated by it. I thought, that would be so fun. But I didn't need it. Obviously, my mom was home when I was very little. She went back to work, went to school later. But I used to think that was the coolest thing. As a kid, actually, I'm surprised I thought that because I didn't like to have my time scheduled. I'm a little bit like that now. I like to have time to figure out what it is I want to do. And I think that's one of the things I always feel bad about kids who go to a lot of scheduled activities, especially starting really little. I always felt bad for them. I'd see kids in the subway when I was going to work, and it would be so early because I was, as a teacher, you go really early, and the kids would be falling asleep on their moms, and so difficult. It's hard for the mom, it's hard for the kids. Too bad. Yes. All right, so we're going to heat some olive oil in the pan. These are ready to go. I think I'm happy with that. And you're not going to put too much. And this can continue cooking through in the sauce that we make later. This is good served over pasta. You could do mashed potatoes. You can do rice. We actually have some left over, like a rice pilaf that I'm going to give to my husband for lunch with this. So that's what we're having today. All right. So let's see. So when I was meeting with my friend yesterday, I was talking to her about how she is still a musician. She does other things as well, and I learned to play the Beethoven piece Furiosa from her. She was very good. She was extremely smart, and she was very good at piano. Now she plays other things as well. And I was talking to her about my piano teachers who were, it was around the corner from me. And let's try to get them kind of even. And I would walk over there, and they were in a thing called vaudeville. And I don't know if you even know what that is because it's so old. It was this like variety act sort of shows very early in the 20th century. But when I took lessons with them was the 70s, and they were already in their 80s, so you get the idea of how old they were, right? We're going to put a little, and I loved hearing their stories, like of performing and traveling and all that. So they were so interesting. And they had their Siamese cat named Mr. Peekaboo. He was always a part of my lessons as well. This is going to shrink up a little bit, and I'll be able to fit in another piece. So I bought an exceptionally large amount of mushrooms. Yes. Well, and he looked like he had like a little bow tie on. It really was perfect for him. And they had grown up in the house that I went to, a two-family house. They had been married and lived there with their husbands. Their husbands had died, so they were there together. It was very fun. I took ballet there also from some other people. They hired other teachers. It's kind of fun because I had like a Russian ballet teacher in this town in Queens, right? In the basement of their house, which I absolutely love. We're going to kind of cook this until it's sort of golden on both sides. And we have our very large amount of mushrooms. So you can kind of put whatever you want. I really like mushrooms. It's one of my favorite things. I don't know why, because like, do they actually taste like anything? I'm not sure. There we go. But I've always really liked them. Pizza with mushrooms was really my favorite for a long time. So anyway, it's funny to see somebody after like 50 years. Yeah, they are. Here we go. We're going to get some, we'll take a good handful, because that's my favorite part of the chicken marsala is really like having those mushrooms. So here's like a tip for mushrooms. Generally speaking, if you run them underwater, which I'm actually going to do because I don't have time to do it individually, if you run them underwater, they tend to soak up the water. Oh, that's nice. These are what, Baby Bella, I think. If you when they're underwater, they tend to soak up the water. So I try to instead wipe them with like a damp paper towel. But like I said, I don't want you to have to wash while I individually wash each mushroom. Keep turning our chicken. Make sure it gets kind of evenly golden. And there's some spots that are really, really pink, and I don't want that. We're going to take this out. As I was mentioning on Thursday, a lot of times, get the pink part off. There's parts of your pan that might be a little more, might be hotter than others, so sometimes you have to like circle the food around to get it cooked evenly. All right. Down a touch. I don't want it burning. And a lot of this, honestly, this recipe is so incredibly fast. It's a 30-minute recipe, you know, for the most part. All right, get rid of these. I always like people who know like about mushrooms and can go successfully pick them. I would never try that. I have no idea. So we're going to rinse these off. They have quite a bit of dirt on them. And I like to do like a sort of a bigger chop on them so that it's nice and they're nice and thick. I'm going to take off. I'm going to just have them dry a bit. I've always used like a gentle vegetable brush to clean them also. I just don't want to like cut into the mushroom. See how we're doing over here. Right. Yes, it's funny. My favorite food, one of my favorite foods is lobster roll. And there's a great place on Long Island to go. And obviously that's quite far now. And last night when we were coming back from Gin and Jacobs, my husband saw there's a place that serves like a tiny little shed, I guess, that has room for like seating for 2 people outside. And they have oysters and lobster roll. So I'm definitely going to have to go check that out.